Right, very, very quick trash skip tutorial. More of an explanation. This is not going to be a tutorial. This is just going to be an explanation, trying to make it clear what I'm looking for. So obviously, I'll go over the first parts of it. Start building as soon as you can. And Han's going to build until there's 3 pieces built on the top. That part doesn't really matter as long as there are 3 pieces built. Then Han is going to move over into this corner and stand still. So that's what Han is going to do. While that's happening, you're going to move Chewie over to the right. Oh, lag frames. You're going to move Chewie over to the right, and he's going to stand on top of this piece here. You see how it's pushing me back? So when I stand on top of it, it's going to push me forward. Slowly push me forward. Okay, so the idea is, as this is building, you're going to stand on top of it, and then when it's done, it's going to push him forward. Alright, so that's part of the setup. Then, once you have stood on that piece, walked over here, wait for Chewie to lean his head back to the right, because you're going to see his head is going to go left, and then while it's going to the right, that's when you do it, like that. Left, now. There you go. So that's the general idea. Now, there are some nuances, right? So, like, sometimes what can happen is this, and then I have to rebuild it. It's still the same timing. I mean, that wasn't going to work if I was in the right place with Han. But if you look at my current PB on the leaderboards, 224.03, that is actually what happens. So I do like this, and then I rebuild that last piece. That was a little late. So, like, one other thing is that the only part of this that I note to matter is the walk cycle with Chewie. So I'm kind of looking like, okay, I walk to the right and then up. And then once he starts to tilt, that's when I'll do it. And so you see I'm going right and then up. Try and do it like that if you want it to be consistent in the way that I'm doing it. Obviously, as you can see, it's not consistent, but more consistent than a lot of the other setups we've had. So yeah, that's what you're looking for. Remember, starting to build as soon as the transition begins to wipe is an important part of it. Now I'm going to show you the out of bounds movement. You can shoot everyone with Chewie. So you can see like I'm doing here. As soon as you pull the lever, you can drop out. And then I try to cut this corner with like a jump. So here's the key thing for this part of the movement. As soon as Chewie disappears from the top, you're going to let go and start jumping. Like that. Now, I can see that because my gun is not sticking out of the wall when it's like this, I'm too far back, so I'm going to press down, and then I'm going to do it. When you're in this spot, it can be a little precarious, right? The first thing I'll do is tap down. It's probably going to hit the transition. Yeah. But if it didn't, then I would have just tapped up a couple more times and it would have hit it. So that's the general idea. I don't know how did that happen, but that's the general idea. I don't know if I'll hit this again, but I'll just show you one more time. You want the slide, and then as he leans his head to the right, you're going to press, and make sure this is an important part. I mean, you can see it on my input square. Like this part's very obvious, but make sure you are trying to press build and up with Chewie at the exact same time. So I go like this, and then these 2 inputs are supposed to be synchronized, like that. Right trigger is my build button, obviously, on controller. So you want them to be synced, and if they're not synced, then at the very least, the forward input should be a little bit before the build input. I think it can be like a frame before the build input, and it still works. The thing is that because I am using the trigger, there's a little bit of delay for my input. So for you, it may depend on what you want to do, but most likely you're gonna, if it was something like B, you would do like that. If you're looking at my input display, that kind of idea. So yeah.